The stars stretched endlessly in the dark sky as the small human ship named Explorer 1 drifted near an unknown planet. Inside the cockpit, a young human named Liam checked his systems with calm hands. He had been alone for many weeks, traveling far beyond the known colonies. His mission was simple: to map uncharted worlds and find possible homes for future settlers. But space was never simple. It had a way of testing every human who dared to cross it. Suddenly, a warning light flashed red on his screen. The ship shook as a strong wave of energy hit from nowhere. Liam gripped the controls and tried to steady the vessel, but another wave hit harder. The engines began to fail. His voice was steady when he spoke into the log recorder. System malfunction. Unknown interference. Attempting to land. He steered the ship toward the nearest planet, hoping for a soft landing. Clouds of silver mist covered the surface below. The ship broke through the upper air, leaving a long trail of smoke behind. Alarm screamed in his ears, but he stayed calm. He had trained for moments like this. The ship hit the ground in a violent slide, cutting through tall blue trees. Sparks flew as metal scraped across the soft ground. When it finally stopped, silence filled the cabin. Liam opened his eyes slowly. His arm was bleeding and his head ached, but he was alive. The air inside the ship was thin and smoke filled the room. He grabbed his small survival bag and opened the hatch. Outside, the world was unlike anything he had seen. The sky was pale gold. Trees rose high with glowing blue leaves that moved gently as if alive. Strange flowers opened and closed, releasing a sweet smell. The ground was soft and covered with silver dust. He took a slow breath and found the air safe to breathe. He smiled weakly. "At least I can breathe," he whispered. He moved away from the wreck to look for help. His scanner showed life signs nearby, but the readings were unlike any human or animal known to him. He walked carefully through the forest. The air hummed with energy, and every step left a faint footprint that glowed for a few seconds. He could hear soft voices carried by the wind, though he saw no one. After some time, he reached a small clearing where a river ran clear and smooth. He knelt beside it and washed his wound. The water felt cool and calming. He drank a little and sat under a large tree to rest, but his peace did not last long. From the shadows ahead, he heard movement. Figures began to appear, tall, graceful, and shining slightly in the soft light. They wore silver armor that looked alive, moving as if made from flowing metal. Their eyes were bright and clear, and their hair shimmered in shades of blue and white. They were not human. They were the people of this world, and they did not seem happy to see him. The leader stepped forward holding a weapon shaped like a spear of light. "Identify yourself," she said in a firm voice. Her language was strange, but his translator chip caught the meaning. Liam slowly raised his hands. "My name is Liam. I am from Earth. My ship crashed." "I mean no harm." The aliens looked at one another, whispering softly. Their leader frowned. "A human," she said, almost like the word carried an old memory. "You are not welcome here. Humans bring chaos." Liam's mind raced, but he stayed calm. "Please, I only seek help. I have no weapon. I only want to fix my ship." Before anyone could respond, one of the alien soldiers tripped over a sharp rock hidden under the grass. The fall broke a small part of his leg armor, and he cried out in pain. Liam's instincts moved faster than thought. He opened his survival bag and pulled out a medical patch. He walked slowly toward the hurt soldier. The others aimed their spears at him, shouting warnings, but he raised his hands to show peace. "I can help," he said quietly. He knelt beside the soldier, placed the patch on the wound, and pressed it gently. The glowing gel sealed the injury and stopped the bleeding. The soldier looked at him with wide eyes, shocked that the stranger helped without asking anything. The leader, still watching, felt a strange pull in her chest. She had been taught that humans were greedy and violent, but this one acted with kindness. She lowered her weapon slightly. "Why do you help an enemy?" she asked. Liam looked up at her. "He is not my enemy. He is hurt and I can help. That is reason enough." The leader studied him in silence. Around her, her soldiers waited for her command. She finally turned to them. "Take him to the city," she said. "The queen must see this human." Liam was surrounded and escorted through the forest. As they walked, he noticed how the plants bent slightly as the soldiers passed, almost as if they were bowing. The world felt alive in ways Earth never did. The air shimmered with soft light, and in the distance, tall crystal towers rose above the trees. When they reached the edge of the forest, Liam saw a city like something out of a dream. Floating bridges connected silver towers. Rivers of light ran through the air, carrying glowing ships. Everywhere, alien people walked in calm harmony, their clothes shining softly in the golden light. But when they saw him, they stopped and stared. Whispers followed him as he was led through the wide streets. The leader walked beside him, silent and unreadable. At last, Liam spoke. "What is your name?" She hesitated, then answered quietly. "I am Princess Arya, daughter of Queen Solara. This is my world, Valoria." Liam nodded politely. "It is a beautiful world," he said honestly. Arya looked at him with confusion. No prisoner had ever spoken with such calmness. She could not understand how a human could admire beauty while in chains. They entered the royal palace made of white crystal that shimmered with soft colors. The halls were filled with gentle sounds like wind chimes. Arya led him to a chamber with high windows and a large chair made from living crystal. Upon it sat Queen Solara, tall and graceful, her eyes shining with wisdom. Arya bowed and said, "Mother, we found this being in the forest. He claims to be human. He helped one of our soldiers even after being captured." The queen looked at Liam with deep interest. "A human," she said slowly. "We thought your kind had vanished from this part of the stars. Tell me, why are you here?" "My ship crashed," Liam replied. "I did not mean to intrude. I only ask for help to repair it. I have no wish for trouble." The queen's face remained calm, but her eyes showed caution. Humans have brought war in the past. Their kindness hides danger. Liam met her gaze. "Then judge me by my actions, not by old stories." The hall fell silent. Arya looked at her mother, unsure what she would decide. Finally, the queen spoke. "You will be kept under guard until we learn the truth. If your heart is honest, you will not be harmed." Liam bowed his head. "That is fair." Guards took him to a crystal room that glowed softly with light. It was more a guest room than a prison. Through the window, he could see the great city shining under the golden sky. He sat on the floor, thinking about Earth and the long distance between him and home. But even here in this strange world, he felt no fear. Meanwhile, Princess Arya could not stop thinking about the moment in the forest. The image of the human helping her soldier stayed in her mind. His calm voice, his simple kindness. It did not fit with the stories she had learned about humans. She stood by the window of her chamber and looked toward his room in the distance. Why would someone help those who captured him? She whispered to herself. The night sky above Valoria shimmered with 2 moons. The stars glowed softly, lighting the peaceful city. In one small room, a human sat quietly, unaware that his simple act of kindness had already started to change the heart of an alien princess, who would soon question everything she believed about humanity. Morning came slowly to the shining city of Valoria. The golden light of the twin suns touched the crystal towers and made them sparkle like gems. Birds with silver wings flew between the bridges, their songs mixing with the soft hum of the city. Inside one of the high towers, the human named Liam sat quietly by the window of his crystal room. He had been given water, clean clothes, and some kind of blue fruit that tasted sweet. Though the room had no lock, 2 guards stood outside, watching him at all times. They were polite but cold, speaking only when needed. Liam did not complain. He understood he was a stranger in a world that did not trust humans. He spent his time fixing small pieces of his damaged equipment. He used broken metal from his suit and spare wires to rebuild a small scanner. He knew it would take time to contact his ship, but working helped him stay calm. When he looked out of the window, he saw the people of Valoria walking in peace, unaware that a human sat among them. That morning, the door opened. Princess Arya entered the room with soft steps. She wore light silver armor that caught the sun's glow. 2 guards followed her but stayed near the door. Liam stood up and gave a small bow. "Good morning, Princess," he said with a kind smile. Arya looked at him curiously. "You speak politely for a prisoner," she replied. Liam nodded. "Respect is free. It costs nothing to be kind." Her eyes narrowed slightly. She was not used to such words. Most captives she had seen begged for freedom or cursed their fate. But this human seemed calm and gentle even while trapped. She moved closer and looked at his workbench. "What are you doing?" she asked. "I am trying to repair my scanner," Liam said. "It helps me understand my surroundings. I thought it might show me what kind of energy damaged my ship." Arya watched his hands as he worked. They were steady and careful. "You really believe you can fix it?" she asked. "I can try," he said softly. "Trying is better than doing nothing." For a moment, she said nothing. Then she asked, "Why did you help my soldier yesterday?" Liam looked up. He was hurt. I had the tools to heal him. I could not ignore that. Arya crossed her arms. He was your guard. You were surrounded. You could have used the moment to escape. I did not come here to escape anyone, Liam said. I only came here because my ship fell. I am not your enemy. His voice was calm but full of meaning. Arya found herself staring at him longer than she intended. There was no fear in his eyes, no anger, only quiet strength. Later that day, she returned to the palace hall. Her mother, Queen Solara, sat on the crystal throne, speaking with advisors. Arya waited until the hall was clear. Then she stepped forward. Mother, the human speaks with honesty, she said.
He is not like the stories told to us. The queen looked at her daughter with concern.
Do not be deceived by gentle words, Arya. Humans are known for tricks. Long ago, they came to our world to take what was not theirs. We lost many lives before peace returned. Arya lowered her eyes. But this one is alone. He helped our soldier without asking for anything. The queen sighed softly. Perhaps he acts kindly to gain trust. Keep watching him. If he means no harm, we will decide later what to do. Arya bowed and left the hall, but her mind did not rest. She wanted to understand why Liam's behavior felt different. That evening, she returned to his room again. He was sitting near the window sketching the city in a small notebook. His drawing was simple but full of detail. You draw, she said. He smiled. Yes, it helps me remember the beauty I see. Arya looked at the picture. You think my world is beautiful? Very much, he said. Every light, every color feels alive. She sat down across from him. Humans see beauty even when they are in trouble. That makes no sense to me. Liam laughed quietly. Maybe it is what keeps us going. If we forget beauty, we forget hope. For a moment, silence filled the room. Arya studied his face. His eyes were kind but tired. He looked like someone who had seen both pain and wonder. She asked, Do you miss your world? Yes, Liam said. But even when I am far from home, I try to bring a little part of it with me. Sometimes kindness is the only thing we can carry across the stars. Arya felt something shift inside her heart. His words were simple, yet they touched her deeply. She remembered how her people were trained to see humans as selfish, but this man spoke about hope and kindness as if they were treasures. The next day, she brought him a tray of food from the royal kitchen. It had golden fruits and soft bread made from moon grain. Liam looked surprised. You brought this for me? He asked. Yes, she said quickly. You cannot think well if you are hungry. He smiled warmly. Thank you, princess. That is very kind of you. Arya looked away, pretending she was only doing her duty. But deep down, she wanted to see that smile again. Over the next few days, she visited often. They talked about many things. Liam told her about Earth's blue oceans, its green forests, and the songs of birds that filled the air in spring. Arya listened with wide eyes, imagining a world full of sound and color. She had never met anyone who spoke of their planet with such love. In return, she told him about Valoria, its twin suns, and the light rivers that carried energy through the sky. She explained how her people used harmony instead of machines, blending nature with technology. Each day, the distance between them felt smaller. The guards began to notice the change. They whispered quietly, unsure how to tell the queen that her daughter seemed close to the human. One evening, when Arya entered the room, she found Liam repairing a broken drone that one guard had dropped earlier. He worked with focus, connecting wires and adjusting circuits. That is not your duty, she said. He looked up. The guard was worried. I thought I could help. It will fly again soon, Arya frowned. You help everyone, even those who watch you like a prisoner. Liam gave a gentle smile. Helping others helps me too. It reminds me I am still human. His words echoed in her mind long after she left. That night, she stood on her balcony, looking over the city. The soft wind carried the scent of glowing flowers. She remembered how he spoke of earth, of kindness, of hope. She realized she had never met anyone like him before. In the royal hall, her mother spoke to her again. Arya, the council has decided. The human will be studied by the scholars. They want to know how his body works, how he survived the crash. Arya's eyes widened. They will harm him? The queen shook her head. They will only study. But if he resists, they will use force. Arya felt a cold fear rise inside her. Mother, he has done nothing wrong. He should not be treated like that. The queen looked at her sadly. I know you see something good in him, but my duty is to protect our people. That night, Arya could not sleep. She walked through the empty halls until she reached Liam's room. He was awake, sitting by the window again. "You heard about the decision," he said quietly. Arya nodded. "I tried to stop it, but they will not listen." He smiled softly. "It is all right. I will face whatever comes." She shook her head. "You do not deserve this. You have been nothing but kind." Liam looked at her and said, "Sometimes kindness is not enough to change fear, Princess, but it is still worth showing." Those words broke something inside her. She felt tears in her eyes but tried to hide them. "Why are you like this? Why do you not hate us for keeping you here?" Liam stood and looked out the window. "Because hate only builds walls. I would rather build bridges." Arya could not find any reply. She turned and walked out before the guards could see her face. As she walked through the silent palace, her mind filled with confusion and wonder. The human made no sense to her. His kindness went beyond reason. But deep in her heart, she began to feel something she had never known before: trust. The next few days passed slowly in the shining palace of Valoria. The human, Liam, stayed in his crystal room, spending hours repairing small tools from his broken ship. Princess Arya visited often, even when she told herself she would not. Something about the human made her curious, something she could not explain to herself or to her mother, the queen. Each time Arya visited, she brought small things from her world. One day it was a book written in her people's language. Another day, it was a fruit from her royal garden that glowed faintly like moonlight. Liam accepted every gift with simple gratitude. He would smile and thank her gently, and that smile always stayed in her mind long after she left. One morning, when she entered his room, Liam was standing by the window again, watching the city below. The soft light of the twin suns filled the air. Arya stood beside him and looked out too. "Do you like our city?" she asked. Liam nodded. "It is peaceful. The air feels alive. Your people must be proud of it." "We are," she said. "But sometimes peace hides fear. My people remember wars from long ago. It makes them careful and distant." Liam turned toward her. "I understand. Humans have done the same. We build peace but fear losing it." She looked at him, thinking about how easily he spoke of such things. There was wisdom in his calm words, something deep and quiet. She said softly, "When I was a child, I was told that humans were wild and dangerous, that they cared only for power. But you are not like that," he smiled. "Stories often forget the small truths. Not all humans are the same. Some fight, some build. Most just want to live with kindness." Arya watched him in silence for a moment. "Kindness," she repeated. "It is such a small word, yet you speak of it as if it can change everything." "Maybe it can," Liam said. "Kindness is like light. Even a little can push away darkness." His words made her heart feel warm, though she did not know why. She looked away quickly and changed the topic. "The queen has not changed her mind," she said. "Tomorrow the scholars will come to study you." Liam took a slow breath. "I understand. You are not angry?" she asked. "No," he said. "They fear what they do not understand." It happens everywhere. Arya could not believe his calmness. "You will let them take you without resistance?" "I will not fight people who have not hurt me," he said. "Violence never teaches peace." Arya felt something tighten in her chest. She wanted to say something more, but she stayed quiet. Instead, she said softly, "I do not want them to hurt you." Liam looked at her and smiled gently. "Then I already have a friend who cares. That is enough." That night, Arya could not sleep. She walked to the royal balcony, where the sky shimmered with silver clouds. The light of the 2 moons bathed the palace in soft glow. She thought about Liam's words again and again. He spoke with such calm strength, as if kindness itself was his weapon. It made no sense to her, yet it made her want to believe. The next day, as promised, a group of scholars came. They wore long robes of crystal fabric, their eyes glowing faintly with energy from their study devices. Queen Solara watched from her throne as they prepared their instruments. Arya stood beside her mother, trying to hide her worry. Liam was brought into the hall under guard. He looked tired but calm. When he stood before the queen, he bowed slightly. The head scholar said, "We only wish to understand your body, human. If you stay still, we will not cause harm." Liam nodded. "Do what you must." The scholars began their work. Light scanned his body and soft sounds filled the hall. They noted his pulse, his energy pattern, his breathing. They were surprised to find that his life energy was strong and steady, matching perfectly with the rhythm of the planet around him. One scholar whispered, "Strange, his energy blends with Valoria's field. That should not be possible." The Queen raised an eyebrow. "Explain." The scholar said, "Every alien energy rejects foreign patterns, but his does not. It is as if the world accepts him." Arya's heart leaped at those words. She stepped forward. "You see, Mother, he is not a danger. The planet itself does not reject him." The Queen looked at Liam thoughtfully. "Perhaps," she said, "but I will not let one miracle erase centuries of warning." Liam looked up. "I understand your caution, Your Majesty, but I promise I have no reason to harm anyone." Arya wanted to defend him more, but the Queen raised her hand. "Enough, the human will stay under watch. I will decide later what to do with him." Liam bowed again. "Thank you for listening." That evening, Arya found Liam sitting quietly in his room again. The scan had tired him, but he still smiled when she entered. "Are you hurt?" she asked. "No," he said.
Just a little weak.
"Their energy tools are different from ours." She sat beside him. "You should rest." "I will," he said. "But I want to thank you for speaking for me." Arya shook her head. It was not enough. "My mother still does not trust you?" He looked at her gently. "Trust takes time," she sighed softly. "You make everything sound so simple." "Because simple things last," Liam said. "Complicated things break." Arya looked at him for a long moment. Then she asked, "Liam, on your world, do people always act kindly like you?" He laughed quietly. "No, Princess. Many forget. But I try to remember because someone once showed me kindness when I needed it most. It saved my life. Since then, I try to pass it forward." Arya tilted her head. "So that is why you helped my soldier?" "Yes," Liam said. "Helping someone heals more than one person. It heals the heart too." Arya fell silent. His words were strange but beautiful. She wanted to understand them completely, but part of her already did. Days turned into weeks. The Queen's orders kept Liam inside the palace, but his kindness spread quietly. He helped servants fix broken machines. He taught children from the royal school how to draw. Even the guards who once feared him began to smile when they saw him. One morning, a small girl from the palace garden brought him flowers. "Mother says you are the kind human," she said shyly. Liam smiled and thanked her. Arya saw this from the balcony and felt her heart soften even more. But not everyone was pleased. Some advisors whispered in secret that the princess was growing too close to the human. They warned the Queen that humans were dangerous and could use charm to gain power. The Queen grew more worried. One night she called Arya to her chamber. "Daughter, I see your heart leaning toward the human. You must remember who you are. He does not belong here." Arya lowered her head. "I know who I am, Mother. But he has done nothing wrong." The Queen's eyes were firm. "That is what makes it dangerous. Sometimes danger hides behind good faces. Tomorrow I will send him away to the mountains where he will live under guard." Arya felt a sharp ache in her heart. "No, Mother. You cannot. He will not survive alone. Please let him stay." The Queen shook her head. "My decision is final." That night, Arya went to Liam's room. He was awake, repairing his broken scanner again. She told him everything. He listened quietly, then smiled gently. "If they want me to go, I will go." Arya shook her head in disbelief. "How can you accept this so calmly?" "Because anger will not help," he said. "Your mother fears for you and your people. Maybe this is her way to protect what she loves." Arya felt tears in her eyes. "You speak as if you understand everyone, even those who hurt you." Liam looked at her softly. "Understanding is not agreeing. It just means I choose peace instead of hate." Arya looked at him in silence. She wanted to tell him something, but her voice failed. She only said, "If you go to the mountains, I will find a way to help you." He nodded. "I believe you." When she left, the palace halls were silent. Outside, the sky was full of stars, shining over the silver towers. Arya stood on her balcony looking at the night, her heart full of questions. The human's kindness had begun to change her world. She did not understand it, but she knew it was real. The next morning, the Queen's guards prepared to take Liam away. Arya watched from the high steps of the palace as he walked calmly with the guards. He turned once, looking up at her. Their eyes met across the distance. She wanted to run to him, to stop everything, but she could not move. He smiled softly before turning away, his figure disappearing into the bright light of morning. Arya stayed there long after he was gone, her heart whispering words she could not yet say aloud. She did not know it yet, but her next choice would change the fate of her world forever. The night was quiet in the royal palace of Valoria. The rain fell softly on the silver rooftops, and the wind carried a deep hum through the empty halls. Princess Arya stood near her window, watching the lightning spread across the sky. Her heart was heavy with fear and confusion. Tomorrow morning, the Queen had ordered that the human named Liam be sent to the science tower. Everyone knew what that meant. The scientists would test him, question him, and maybe hurt him to understand how his kind survived in harsh space. Arya could not let that happen. She wore a dark travel cloak and pulled the hood over her silver hair. Her hands trembled slightly as she picked up the small key she had stolen from the guard chamber. She knew what she was about to do was against her duty as a princess, but her heart told her it was right. She had learned more from Liam's calm and gentle nature than from all the lessons she ever studied about war and diplomacy. She moved quietly through the halls. The guards at the main gate had changed shifts because of the storm, which gave her a chance to slip away. The palace lights dimmed during night hours to save energy, and the only sounds were the echo of her soft boots and the distant rumble of thunder. When she reached the lower prison area, she saw Liam sitting in his crystal cell, half asleep, his head resting against the cold wall. The pale blue light from the floor made him look peaceful, even though he was a prisoner. When he saw her through the barrier, his eyes widened in surprise. "Arya," he said softly, standing up. "What are you doing here at this hour?" She looked around to make sure no one was watching, then pressed the key to the side control panel. The barrier flickered and faded away. "I came to get you out," she said. He stared at her, not moving. "You'll get in trouble for this," he said. "Your people will call you a traitor." "I know," she replied quietly. "But I can't stand by and watch them hurt someone who has done no wrong." For a moment they just stood there, the storm flashing behind her, the wind whispering through the corridor. Then Liam smiled slightly and nodded. "All right. I trust you." They moved quickly through the lower passages. Arya led him through secret routes that only the royal family knew. Once, when they heard footsteps, they hid behind tall pillars until the guards passed. Liam was amazed by how carefully Arya knew the paths and doors. When they reached the outer wall, Arya used a hidden lift to bring them down into the gardens. The blue trees swayed in the rain, their crystal leaves glowing faintly in the dark. The sound of thunder covered their movements as they ran across the wet ground. The air smelled fresh, filled with the scent of wet soil and flowers. Liam glanced at Arya and saw her breathing fast, her cloak clinging to her shoulders. Even in fear, she looked strong. "We have to reach the river," Arya said. "It leads out of the city. Once we cross it, the forest will hide us." They moved along a narrow path, but before long they saw drones flying overhead, their searchlights cutting through the rain. The alarm must have been raised. Arya's heart pounded in her chest. She could hear the faint echo of sirens far behind them. Liam took her hand and pulled her toward the trees. "Come on," he said. "We can make it if we move fast." The ground became slippery and the rain grew stronger. Arya's long cloak caught on the branches, and once she slipped down a muddy slope. Liam caught her before she fell hard. He helped her up, holding her steady. She looked into his eyes, and for a second she forgot about everything. The soldiers, the queen, the danger. "Thank you," she whispered. He smiled. "We'll be all right. Just stay close." They kept going until they reached the riverbank. The water shimmered faintly under the flashes of lightning. It was deeper than Arya expected, and the current was strong because of the storm. "We can't swim across this," she said, her voice shaking. Liam looked around and saw a fallen tree stretching partway across the river. "We can use that," he said. He climbed onto the trunk first, testing its strength. It moved slightly but held firm. He helped Arya step onto it, his hands steady and warm despite the cold rain. They walked carefully, balancing as the water rushed below. Halfway across, the trunk shook when a branch broke away. Arya lost her balance and fell into the river. "Arya!" Liam shouted and jumped after her without thinking. The water was cold and fast. He swam hard, reaching her just before she went under. He pulled her close and kicked toward the opposite shore. When they reached the land, both were breathing heavily. Arya coughed and shivered. Her cloak was torn and her silver hair clung to her face. Liam helped her sit against a rock, wrapping his own jacket around her shoulders. "You saved me," she said weakly. "You would have done the same," he replied with a small smile. She looked at him, her blue eyes filled with confusion and wonder. "You risked your life for me. You could have escaped alone. Why would you do that?" Liam sat beside her, his hair dripping wet, his hands shaking slightly from the cold. He looked up at the rain falling through the forest light and said, "Because that's what being human means. You don't leave someone behind when they need help." Arya stared at him for a long time. The sound of the storm faded in her mind. Slowly she whispered, "Human, your kindness makes no sense to me." He turned to her and smiled gently. "It doesn't have to make sense. It's just what feels right." For a moment they sat in silence, the rain falling softly around them. Something changed inside her heart that night. She had always believed that kindness was a weakness, a sign of fear or foolish emotion. But this human, broken and alone on her world, had shown her something stronger than all the power she knew. True compassion. When the rain slowed, they found a small cave hidden under the cliffs near the forest edge. It was dry inside, and Liam used a small piece of metal from his suit to start a tiny spark of fire. The soft light filled the cave, and for the first time that night they both felt a little safe. Arya watched him as he worked quietly, his hands steady, his face calm despite exhaustion. She wondered how someone so simple could carry such strength. "On your world," she asked softly, "are there many like you?" Liam smiled faintly. "There are many kinds of people. Some are kind, some are not. But I believe kindness spreads when it's shown." Arya thought about his words. "Maybe it could spread here too," she said. He looked at her with warmth in his eyes. "It already has." That night they rested in the cave. The storm faded and the sky outside began to clear, showing the faint light of 2 moons. Arya leaned against the wall, watching Liam as he slowly fell asleep near the fire. She felt something she had never known before, a deep peace mixed with care. Outside, the forest glowed faintly under the moons, and the river flowed calmly again. But Arya knew their journey was not over. The Queen's guards would soon find their trail. Still, she did not feel fear anymore. She had made her choice. She would protect this human no matter the cost. As dawn began to rise, painting the sky with soft colors, Arya looked at Liam and whispered, "Maybe one day I'll understand your kindness." He stirred slightly in his sleep but did not wake. Arya smiled softly. She now understood that what made humans different was not their technology or power. It was their heart, the quiet, endless wish to do good even when there was nothing to gain. That thought gave her courage for what was to come. She knew they could not run forever. Sooner or later, they would have to face her mother and the Valorian Council. But for now, as the first light touched the trees, she felt something new blooming inside her, a hope she had never felt before. The storm had ended, but something much greater had begun. The sky above Valoria was soft gold as the twin suns rose over the crystal city. Princess Arya stood at the edge of the hidden forest where she and Liam had spent the night. The rain had passed, leaving the air fresh and cool. Birds with silver wings flitted between the glowing trees, and the river reflected the morning light like liquid crystal. Liam stood beside her, stretching and brushing rainwater from his hair. His clothes were damp, but he smiled calmly as if nothing could disturb his peace. "We cannot stay hidden forever," Arya said, her voice quiet. "The Queen's guards will search the forest soon." Liam nodded. "I know, but hiding is not the only choice. We can face them with truth." Arya turned to him, surprised. "Truth? Do you think they will listen?" "I hope they will," he said. "If we show them that kindness exists, maybe it can change minds." Arya studied him for a moment. His calm confidence made her heart beat faster. "You make it sound so simple," she whispered. "Because it is," Liam replied gently. "Fear makes things complicated. Kindness makes them simple." They moved quietly through the forest, avoiding main paths and drones flying overhead. As they reached the edge of the city, Arya saw the palace rising high above the streets. The guards were already searching for them, their weapons scanning the area. "Stay behind me," Arya said, taking Liam's hand. We walked slowly, show we mean no harm. They stepped onto the main path and the guards stopped, pointing their spears at them. "Princess Arya," one shouted. "Step aside. You are breaking the law." Arya raised her free hand, calm but firm. "I will not step aside," she said. "This human has done nothing wrong. He is not a threat." The guards hesitated, unsure what to do. Liam stepped forward, his voice calm and strong. "I have come peacefully," he said. "I do not want to harm anyone. I only wish to show that humans can be kind." One guard whispered to another, and slowly the tension began to ease. The storm of fear that had built for days seemed to falter. The crowd of citizens watching from a distance murmured in surprise. They had never seen a human walk freely in their city, speaking openly to the princess and her guards. Finally, Arya turned and called toward the palace. "Mother, Queen Solara, you must listen." The queen appeared on the balcony, her face calm but filled with authority. "Arya, return to your chamber," she commanded. "No," Arya said firmly. "You must see the truth for yourself. This human has shown more courage and kindness than many of us combined." Liam stepped forward, his voice clear. "Your Majesty, I know your people fear humans. They have been hurt before. I do not deny that. But I have no wish to harm anyone. I only wish to help, to live in peace, and to show that kindness can exist even in strangers." The queen studied him carefully. Her eyes softened as she looked at Liam. She remembered the reports from the scholars, how his energy blended with the planet, how he healed a wounded soldier without hesitation. She thought of Arya's words, her daughter's unwavering belief in him. "Your words are brave," the queen said slowly, "but words alone cannot change the past." "I understand," Liam replied. "That is why I offer my actions instead. Let me help your people. Let me show that humans can be trusted." For a moment, silence fell over the city. The citizens, the guards, and the advisors all waited, unsure what the queen would decide. Then she spoke again, her voice steady. "If what you say is true, then you will help those in need. You will show your heart through your deeds. If you fail, you will return to isolation. Do you accept?" "I accept," Liam said simply. Arya smiled, relief flooding through her. "Thank you, Mother." The queen studied her daughter. "Arya, you have taught me that courage can be found in unexpected places." The citizens watched as Liam began to help. He tended to injured workers in the marketplace, fixed broken tools, and shared his knowledge of engineering with curious young aliens. Every time someone thanked him, he smiled softly and reminded them that helping each other was the true way to live in peace. Arya stayed beside him, observing. She felt proud of the human she had come to trust, and at the same time, she realized that her own heart had changed. She understood now that kindness was not weakness but the strongest force in the universe. Days passed, and slowly, fear began to fade among the Valorians. The guards lowered their weapons when Liam approached. The advisors nodded in approval as they saw him teach their people, always patient, always calm. Even the queen began to smile more often, watching him work with quiet wisdom. One afternoon, as the sun's golden light reflected off the city towers, Arya and Liam walked through the royal gardens. The soft hum of the fountains filled the air, and the glowing flowers swayed gently in the wind. "Your people are learning from you," Arya said, her voice soft. "They are beginning to understand what you have shown me." Liam smiled. "I did not do this alone. You trusted me when no one else did. That is what made the difference." Arya felt a warmth spread through her chest. "I only followed my heart." "You followed it well," he said, reaching for her hand. She looked at him, surprised, then smiled. "I suppose humans can teach a few lessons to aliens after all." He laughed quietly, the sound gentle in the bright garden. "Maybe, but it is more than teaching. It is sharing. That is what kindness really is." The two of them walked together, their steps light and steady. Arya thought about the journey they had taken, from the forest crash to the hidden cave, from fear to trust. She realized that even though the world around them had rules and warnings, the courage to act with kindness had changed everything. That evening, the queen called Arya to the palace balcony. "Daughter, you have shown wisdom beyond your years. This human has proven that his heart is true. I see now that my caution must sometimes yield to hope." Arya bowed her head. "Thank you, Mother. I'm glad you understand." The queen looked at Liam, standing respectfully nearby. "You have earned the trust of Valoria. You may remain here as our guest. Teach us, help us, and live among us in peace." Liam bowed low. "I am honored, Your Majesty. I will do my best." The city erupted in quiet celebration. Citizens cheered softly, and the guards smiled as they saw that fear had been replaced by trust. The human who had arrived as a stranger was now accepted among them, not because of power or weapons, but because of his heart. In the weeks that followed, Liam worked tirelessly with Arya to help the city grow. He repaired machinery, taught young aliens about Earth and its wonders, and shared his knowledge of science and kindness. The Valorians learned that helping others could bring strength and peace. Arya often watched him, amazed at how simply he could change the hearts of those around him. She realized that no rule, no tradition could match the power of trust and compassion. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Arya and Liam stood together in the palace garden. "You have changed more than this city," Arya said softly. "You have changed me." Liam looked at her and smiled. "And you have shown me that even in a world so different from my own, kindness can be understood and shared." They stood in silence for a while, listening to the soft hum of the city, the gentle flow of the rivers, and the quiet rustle of glowing leaves. Arya finally spoke, her voice filled with wonder. "I think I understand now. Your kindness makes sense in ways I could never imagine. It is stronger than fear, stronger than doubt. It builds trust where there was none." Liam smiled. "It does, and it spreads when it is shared." As night fell over Valoria, the twin moons rose, casting silver light over the city. Citizens walked peacefully in the streets. Children played in the gardens, and the hum of life filled the air. The human and the princess stood side by side, knowing that their world and their hearts had been forever changed. Arya looked at Liam, her eyes bright. "Maybe the future of our worlds depends not on weapons, not on power, but on the choices we make to be kind." Liam nodded. "Yes, princess, that is what makes us strong." And with that, the city of Valoria entered a new dawn, a dawn of understanding, of peace, and of hope. The human who had come as a stranger was now a friend, a teacher, and a symbol of the power of kindness. The alien princess had learned that sometimes what makes no sense can change everything. Together, they walked back to the palace, ready to face the future, ready to show that even in the vast universe, a single heart acting with kindness could shine brighter than any star. The world had changed, and the story of Liam and Princess Arya became a legend whispered across Valoria for generations, a story of trust, courage, and the quiet power of a human heart.